welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark. Amanda here. Today I've got this fun die cut card featuring some awesome products from Lawn Fawn. I just love how this little mug came together. I just had to use him on a card. It was so adorable, and I have so many more ideas using this wonderful die set. So let's get into it. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be using the Thanks a Latte stamp set as well as the latte mug die from Lawn Fawn as well. I'm also going to be using Henry's ABCs. These are some really fun products, as well as their stitched small leaves. I really love using all of these products together. I think they turned out fantastic. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my background image. Now, the background stamp I'm using is from Simon Says Stamp. It is the All Leaves background stamp. This came out, I think, last year or year before. I'm not sure, but I felt like it went really well with the card idea I had in mind. And I'm going to be stamping it down onto some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock that I have pre-cut using a stitched rectangle die from my stash. At first I thought maybe I would do it as a portrait style card, but I like the idea of doing it as a landscape a little bit better. I was able to get some more leaves in there and get my greeting to fit perfectly. So I've got my MISTI stamp positioner set up here and my stamp inside. I'm going to be using some khaki ink from Simon. I really feel like this ink looks really great on top of this Desert Storm cardstock. And I'm also going to be doing some ink blending just to give it some more interest and make it look a little bit more dimensional, and to kind of go along with the die cuts and the shading that I'm going to do on those later as well. Inside my MISTI, I had a sticky mat that it helps me hold everything down. I really love this sticky mat from My Sweet Petunia. It works out fantastic. Now that I have my background stamped, I'm going to get out my waffle flower blending mat, or stencil mat, excuse me, and I'm going to be using two colors of Distress Oxide inks as well as my waffle flower blending brushes. I'm using Antique Linen and Ground Espresso. These are I think it's Gathered Twigs. Either way, any brown colors, and I love to start with a lighter color, and then I'm going around the edge with a darker color. Again, just to add that shading and that depth, and you can see here as we go through all of the different dimension that you get with adding a little bit of shading to this plain panel. Now, if you didn't want to add any ink blending, you could totally leave that off. I just feel like it makes it look a little bit more interesting. I'm also going to take some of the leftover ink that is on my mat here, and I'm going to splatter it on the background, again, just to add a little bit more of that distressing. Now that I have that all done and it's setting off to the side to dry, we're going to work on our little die cut here. I pre-die cut my little guy out of some scraps of cardstock that I had in my stash. I've got a whole bin full of scraps. And the little marshmallows there are actually from the Thanks a Latte set, and I just used the die itself to cut out the little marshmallows. I felt like they worked really perfectly with this set. They were the perfect size, and I think they would be cute if you cut like a little slit in the top of the mug. So you can actually fit the marshmallows down inside of the topper. I think that would be a cool idea as well. I'm going in with some Lawn Fawn liquid glue, and I'm going to start assembling our little die cut here. I'm just using the glue, and I'm going to attach the little outline. I've seen a lot of people do this lots of different ways. I personally like doing it with the black outline. It almost looks like a stamped image, just like the ones in the stamp set itself. So you could do it with white, you could do it tone on tone to make it look a little bit more realistic. You could do it any way that you like. I really like doing it with a nice black outline. I really think it makes it stand out. And we're also going to go in after I have this assembled, and we're going to add some fun shading with our Copic markers. Once I have that layer or that line die kind of lined up, I flip it over and try to line it up on the back as well, so that completely covers the background. I'm going to attach the liquid here on the inside. This could either be coffee or hot chocolate, anything that you like. I think it's really, really fun. Next, I'm going to go in with my shading. So I'm just going to be using my Copic markers for this. You could do this any way that you like. You could use blending brush, you could use ink, you could use dye inks, you could use distress inks, you could use colored pencils, anything like that. I feel like it really brings out the fun of these die cuts. They are pretty, if you wanted to leave them plain, you could totally do that as well. I personally think it gives them some real dimension and interest if you go in and add that shading. So I'm going in with a nice red marker here. This is my E59, and I'm just going in off the edge and kind of giving it some shape. I really think this makes it look like a nice round dimensional mug. Again, I think this is going to be so cute for the holidays. I still have so many ideas. I have a card idea that I want to kind of recreate one that I made a few years ago using the same mug and stamp set. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Going in with an R29 marker again, just to kind of help with the blending, and it really blends in nice with this red cardstock. Coloring in my die cuts is one of my favorite things to do with dies. I sometimes struggle with trying to figure out ideas on ways to make them look a little bit more interesting or anything like that. I personally think adding shading to the dies really makes them stand out and makes them a little bit more vibrant and interesting. Gonna glue the little whipped cream and get that adhered down, and we're gonna add some shading to these as well. I'm gonna be using my E40 markers for this. At first it seems like it's gonna be way too dark. I cut out the whipped cream and the marshmallows with some, I think it's vanilla cardstock from Lawn Fawn. I think this is. Again, this was in my scrap stash, so I'm not 100% sure what kind it is, but I didn't want to go with a pure white. I wanted it to be kind of like an off-white. So once I had that ink blending in there, I kind of faded it out a little bit with my 0 marker, and I just love the way that it looks. They look so dimensional and fun. They look a lot more realistic once you add the shading in. Excuse me. Going in with my Copics to color in the marshmallows, and they look super cute as well. Lots of fun with all this dimension. Once I had all those little marshmallows colored in, I was going to go ahead and assemble the face. What I did was I kept the piece that I die cut the eyes and the mouth from, and I used it as kind of a guide to line up where that needed to go. And then I'm just going to stick those down with some liquid adhesive, the Lawn Fawn liquid adhesive, and just get those nice and lined up. And that worked out perfectly. Now you could leave that in there and just kind of line it up that way. Whatever way works for you. This way worked pretty well for me, and I didn't have issues with that at all. And then I also cut out the little cheek dies that go with it. You could leave this off if you're not, if that's not really your thing, but I cut it out of some nice really pale cardstock, some nice pale pink. It's kind of hard to see the color here, but it is a nice really pale pink. And I just love the character and the interest that it gives this little mug. Makes them look super cute. Gonna attach my little bit of whipped cream here to the top of our mug, and he's looking so cute. And then I'm gonna go in with my white gel pen, and I'm gonna add some detail. I really like doing this with die cuts. I really think it makes it stand out and gives it tons and tons of interest and character. Love the way that it looks. So gonna add some highlight detail to the liquid in our mug, to the mug itself. I don't follow any kind of like guides or lighting sources or anything like that. I just kind of go with what I feel looks the nicest, and it really makes the mug look nice. And I added a little bit of highlight to his eyes, and I think that really makes him shine and pop. I'm also going to go in with my Nuvo AQUA shimmer pen and add a little bit of shine to the marshmallow, or I guess the whipped cream on the top. It could be marshmallow whipped cream, whichever, and add some shine to that as well, and to the little cheeks. And I just think it looks so cute. Once I have all of that together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same kind of Copic coloring on all of my leaf die cuts. I just cut these out of some scraps from my bin, and I'm going to add some Copic marker detail to these as well. Just going to go through all the Copics that I use will be on the screen, and if they're not on the screen, I will list them in the description below. I'm going to throw on some music for this. There's nothing really too, overwhelming or exciting here. I'm just adding color to these die cuts to give them some interest and make them match the style and card style that I'm going for. Once I'm all finished with this, we'll come back and finish up together.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within.
Once I had all of those leaves colored, I wanted to work on my secondary greeting, so I've just got a piece of black cardstock here, and I'm going to take the LATTE greeting from the same Thanks a Latte stamp and die set from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to heat emboss it down on this cardstock with some Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder and some Versamark ink. Once I get that all heated up, I'm going to cut it out with a banner die. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my main part of my greeting adhered together. These are the Henry's ABCs, and I cut them out of some white cardstock and some red cardstock. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of do like a drop shadow effect with the dies, just to give it some interest so it's not such a flat kind of die cut. And I really love the way that this looks, and I really, really adore this Henry's ABCs set. I love the mix of the design of the fonts here. I really think it's a really quirky, kind of cute style of font, and I just can't wait to use it on some more cards. It is so cute and whimsical and matches really well with all of the Lawn Fawn characters and dies as well. Once I had all of my elements together, I can get together all of my pieces that I put together and get everything assembled. And I was really pleased with how this was turning out. I had this idea in my head, and it was really coming together, and that little mug is so cute. I can't wait to use this mug on some holiday cards and really jazz them up for Christmas. Like I mentioned before, I have an idea for a card that I had created a few years ago. I didn't actually share it via video because I wasn't making videos at the time. And I really love this style, and I think it would be really cute to try to recreate it using this little die cut mug. Gonna adhere my main greeting down flat to my card base, and I'm just using that same Lawn Fawn liquid glue. And I wanted to get that adhere first so that I could place my little latte mug. I wanted it to kind of be a little bit over the top of the greeting, so it was kind of sitting in front of it. I'm using some scrapbook adhesive, 3D adhesive squares, and I'm going to pop him up a little bit so that I can tuck the leaves in around it. Going to get my secondary greeting in here. I wanted to make sure I got all my greetings attached first, so I had room to kind of work around them by placing my leaves. I did die cut more leaves than I actually used, but I was pleased with the nice even amount of leaves on either side and how they looked and kind of really framed up our little mug here. And I'm just going to adhere those down flat with that same liquid adhesive. I thought about adding some more in, but I really liked keeping it kind of simple. And I think these tuck in beautifully, and I love the stitching detail on the leaves. It matches the stitching detail around the edge of our card, and everything really goes well together. The only thing that is not a Lawn Fawn is the stamp that we used for the background. So it's really nice to kind of be able to kind of shop your stash and see what things will go well together, and you know, kind of mix up your companies because everything works so well together. I'm gonna attach my little marshmallows here. I popped those up because they are overlapping that mug that is popped up. So I did attach a few popped up, and then I did attach a few kind of nice and flat. So I had all of my little marshmallows here. I just love the way that these look. I added more marshmallows more than I intended to, but I was totally okay with that. You can't have too many marshmallows for your hot chocolate. And once I had that done, I went in and added a little bit of more sparkle and highlight detail to my images and to my letters. I really think this looks neat, adding that bit of highlight to these letters. I saw some inspiration on the Lawn Fawn page where they did this, and I thought it was so cute. Now adding in that shimmer on all of my leaves, my marshmallows, everything that I can, because you can, again, I can't ever have too much shimmer. Gonna get my card base ready here. This is just a A2 sized card base cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's gonna be a top folding landscape style card. And I'm going to stamp on the inside of my card. I'm going to be using some of the greetings and the images from the Thanks a Latte set from Lawn Fawn as well. And I really wanted to add that little mug because they match so well. And I'm going to stamp down my greeting using some Lawn Fawn khaki ink It's a nice kind of brown ink. I felt like it went really well with what we got going on the outside of the card. So the really fun thing about this Thanks a Latte set is that you have the actual mugs. I think there's 3 different styles, or 2, I can't remember, of mugs, and you can change up what is on the inside of the mug. So you could have it just be a plain cup of like coffee or hot chocolate, or you can there's like a marshmallow stamp set in there, and there's also like a latte, like the foam latte that you could put on the top, which I think is really neat. So I'm going to use the marshmallows because it went with my greeting in the front of my card. So it says, "Thanks a latte, you are the marshmallows to my cocoa." I know a latte is a coffee drink, but I just like the way that it sounds. So, and everything went really well together. So I'm just lining up that marshmallow kind of stamp to go on the inside of my mug, and you can just line it up with the front edge of that coffee cup, and everything lines up perfectly, and you stamp it down and you have a cup full of marshmallows, which I think is really, really fun. I'm also going to stamp a little face on the mug just to match with what we've got going on the outside of the card. And I just think these are so, so cute. Probably one of my favorite sets from Lawn Fawn is this set, just because it's so versatile. You could use it for, obviously I'm using it here in a fall theme. You could use it for Christmas. I think I've seen some people use it in like a Valentine's theme card. So lots of uses on this card, or this stamp set, excuse me. And now that my card base is finished, we can go ahead and adhere our main panel down. And I love the white frame around it. Helps bring in the other white elements that we used earlier. And I'm going to be using that same Lawn Fawn liquid glue to attach down our main panel. And I love using craft cardstock for my fall cards. I also like using them on my holiday cards. So I love this Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. It's so versatile and it's so pretty. Once I had that adhered down, I went in with some Nuvo crystal drops. These are the White Blizzard. They are a clear crystal drop that has like glitter in it, and I just wanted to add a little bit to the top of the whipped cream and the marshmallows, just to make them shine a little bit more, because again, you can never have too much shine. And that will finish up this card for today. I really hope you enjoyed this die cut heavy card with a little bit of stamping and an ink blending and coloring to make everything stand out and pop. I had a lot of fun creating this card, and if you did, please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel. I'll catch up with you guys again real soon. I'll see ya. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.